I came home early from work hoping to surprise Kay. We had been together for nearly 3 years. Living in a small downtown apartment, I spent long hours at a startup as a software developer, constantly buried in deadlines, while Kay balanced a part-time job as a teaching assistant with finishing her degree. Despite our busy lives, I believed we always made time for each other. At least that's what I thought. Sure, we argued occasionally, but nothing that made me doubt our bond, until last Tuesday. I had finished work early due to a cancelled meeting and decided to pick up Kay's favorite takeout, thinking it might make for a special evening. The past few months had been stressful for both of us, and I hoped a quiet night together would be exactly what we needed. I felt a sense of relief as I parked outside our building, bags in hand, imagining the simple happiness of seeing her. But as I climbed the stairs, something felt wrong. The door was slightly ajar. Kay was always careful about locking it. My chest tightened, but I tried to brush it off as a minor mistake. I stepped inside quietly, thinking she might be studying or relaxing. Then I heard voices, Kay's and someone else's. At first I assumed it was a friend or study partner, but then I caught the words. "He has no idea," Kay said, her tone sharp. Froze. A man's voice responded. "Yeah, he works all the time. He wouldn't notice if I'm with you. I've got him wrapped around my finger. Even if he did, I could talk my way out." My mind spun as I tried to process it. My heart pounded. It was real. Kay's next words cut deeper. "It's almost sad how easy it's been. The best part. He still thinks I'm stressed about school. That's why I've been distant." Pathetic. I stood frozen, gripping the takeout bags so hard my knuckles went white. My stomach turned. The man laughed and set down a bottle. "As long as it works out for us, who cares? It's not like you'll get caught." I couldn't take it anymore. Everything I believed about us was gone. I wanted to storm in, demand answers, confront them both, but something stopped me. Maybe it was knowing they didn't even see me there, that I could leave without them ever knowing. Or maybe it was the truth. Confrontation wouldn't change anything. Kay had betrayed me, and that was reality. I turned and left as quietly as possible, the door clicking shut behind me. My mind was a blur. I had no destination, only the certainty I couldn't return to that apartment. It didn't feel like home anymore. I ended up at a friend's place, someone Kay didn't know well. I crashed on the couch, unable to process the chaos of my life. The next morning I blocked Kay everywhere. Phone, social media, email, anything I could. I didn't want her reaching out. I didn't want apologies or explanations. I wanted nothing. For days, my phone was flooded with her messages and calls. First confused, then apologetic, eventually desperate. She even showed up at my office. One message read, "Please, let's talk. Can explain. It's not what you think. I love you." I didn't respond. How could I? How do you reply to someone who betrays you so easily, then tries to twist the story as if you misunderstood? I wasn't mistaken. It was clear she wasn't just physically cheating. She was humiliating me behind my back. She had no respect for me, for us, or for what we had built. She kept trying through mutual friends, frantic and desperate to talk. They had no idea what I had heard. Told no one. The betrayal alone was enough humiliation. Then, a week later, I found out who the man was. It wasn't some stranger or random guy. No, it was one of my own co-workers. The same man who had been sitting in my living room, laughing as he boasted about how clueless I was. He worked in the same office as me. How had I never noticed before? Maybe I had seen him with her sometimes, but I had trusted her, brushed it off. Now everything clicked. The way she spoke about him, casually dropping his name as if he were just a harmless part of her daily routine. She had even suggested once that we invite him out for drinks. At the time, it had seemed innocent. Now I discovered he was also in a relationship, cheating on his girlfriend, just as Kay had cheated on me. It felt like a twisted game for them, and I had been the fool, oblivious on the sidelines. At first, I considered confronting him. Then I realized something. He wasn't worth it. Neither was she. I was done. Prolonged drama wouldn't change the betrayal or ease the pain. A few days later, Kay tracked me to my friend's place. She pounded on the door, crying, begging me to let her in. My friend asked what I wanted, and I told him to let her enter. She appeared a mess. Mascara smudged, eyes swollen from tears, hands trembling, but I felt no sympathy. She began her usual apologies. It was a mistake, she was confused, the other guy meant nothing, a moment of weakness. But the more she spoke, the more I realized she was still trying to manipulate me, control the story. She didn't even admit the affair at first, just repeated, "It wasn't like that. I never meant to hurt you." I interrupted her, voice icy. "You didn't know, but I heard you laugh about me." Her face went pale. For a moment she was speechless. She knew. She knew there was no escaping this. I stood open the door. "We're done." Nothing left to say. She lunged toward me, but my friend stepped between us. She collapsed in the hallway, sobbing, pleading for a second chance, swearing she would never do it again, claiming she loved me. But I was done. I walked out without looking back, leaving her crying on the floor. Strangely, as painful as it was, a wave of relief washed over me. It hurt deeply, raw and soul-crushing, but the burden of deception and humiliation was gone. I was no longer being played. No longer the fool. After that day, her attempts stopped. The calls, texts vanished. I think she realized I was gone for good. Maybe she moved on or sank into guilt. I didn't care. I was free, from her lies and the web she had spun for years. But my work situation was another story. In the moment I thought about quitting, walking away from everything. Then I realized, why let them ruin my life? Why destroy my career over their selfishness? I had worked too hard to let them take it from me. I stayed, but I wasn't going to let him get away unscathed. The following week, I returned to the office, appearing normal, but tension hung in the air. He avoided me at all costs, looking away in hallways, refusing eye contact in meetings, expecting me to snap. But I didn't give him that satisfaction. Instead, I went to HR calmly, presenting all evidence I had. This wasn't just about me, it was about others who could be affected. His girlfriend worked in the same building and had no clue. Office affairs weren't just frowned upon, they violated company policy, especially with deceit and manipulation involved. The fallout was quick. His girlfriend learned first, and the word spread fast. By week's end, he was fired. His reputation destroyed. I felt no gloating. It wasn't about revenge, but restoring balance, removing toxicity. I focused on work and made it clear. I wasn't to be messed with again. Even after handling it methodically, there was no hero moment, no triumph, just cold satisfaction. A weight lifted, the worst finally behind me. What surprised me most was how quickly I moved on. I expected the betrayal to haunt me for months, maybe years. But in weeks, the fog lifted. I wasn't the same person anymore. Not the guy who had been cheated on. I was lighter, freer, having learned my limits, my worth. I had put Kay on a pedestal, convinced of her perfection, of our perfect life. I ignored the late nights, her flimsy excuses, her distance when I reached out, the growing gap between us. I refused to face the truth. Our relationship had been broken long before, and I had been blind. I won't say I've forgiven her or him. Maybe I never will, but I've let go. Clinging to the past only keeps you trapped. I focus now on my happiness, my own life. Trusting again will take time, but that's fine. I'll get there. One lesson remains clear. People can be selfish, but they can also be resilient. I'm not the same person who overheard that conversation. I'm stronger, smarter, and I know my worth. I won't let anyone treat me like that again.